Oh guys, come on! Wow! Look at these trees and flowers. Nature is really amazing, right?
Yeah, and if you look closely, you can see that many things look similar and repeat, like the leaves and the branches.
That's true. It's like nature has a lot of patterns.
Pattern? What is a pattern? A pattern is something that repeats or follow a certain design or arrangement. In nature, it helps show how things move, grow, or form.
Ooh, that's so awesome!
Exactly! There are actually different types of patterns found in nature. Some examples include symmetry, spirals, fractals, tessellations, spots, stripes, waves, and dunes.
Hey, that sounds interesting! I didn't know that nature had so many patterns!
Same here. Maybe we should explore some examples so that we can understand them better.
Great idea! Let's delve into this different kind of patterns in nature.
First pattern, symmetry. Symmetry is when something can be divided into equal or matching parts. It shows balance in shape or design, where one side looks like the other. There are three main types of symmetry. First is bilateral symmetry, next is radial symmetry, and lastly, translational symmetry. But now, we will only define bilateral symmetry and give example of it. Bilateral symmetry is when an object or living things can be divided into two equal halves using one straight line, and both sides look like mirror images of each other. One example of bilateral symmetry is a goat. If you draw an imaginary line down the middle of a goat's body from head to tail, the left and right sides appear similar in structure. This makes the goat an example of bilateral symmetry because its body is organized into two matching halves.
Another example of a bilateral symmetry is a dog. A dog's body can be divided into two mirror image halves along a central axis, the left and right sides, making it as an example of bilateral symmetry.
Have you ever noticed patterns in nature that repeat over and over again? That's what we call as a fractal. A fractal is a pattern that repeats itself at different sizes. It means the small parts look similar to the big parts. So whether you zoom in or zoom out, the shape looks almost the same. Look closely at this acacia tree. What do you see? A big trunk splits into branches, and those branches split into smaller branches, and those smaller branches split again. Isn't it that amazing? It's like the tree is copying its own shape again and again. This tree branch is a fractal because it repeats its pattern and it shows self-similarity, and it grows in the same way at different sizes.
And now, the other example is tree roots. Tree roots are an example of fractals because they show repeating patterns that look similar at different sizes. Just like tree branches above the ground split into smaller branches, their roots below the ground also divide into smaller parts in a similar way. This repeating and self-similar structure makes tree roots a good example of a fractal patterns found in nature.
We're looking at an example of a spiral pattern in nature. A spiral is a pattern that winds around a central point, like the shell of a snail. This snail is a type of Ceratidia synthesis. The spiral shape allows the snail to grow its shell while maintaining strength and protection. This pattern follows the Fibonacci sequence, where each chamber is proportional to the previous one, allowing for efficient growth and space. Another great example of a spiral pattern is a spider web.
The spiral pattern allows the web to be strong and resilient, distributing stress evenly across the threads.
What do you call a pattern that is like a puzzle? Yes, you're right. It is a tessellation. Tessellations are patterns that is made up of shape that is repeated and fit together to perfectly cover up a space without a gaps and overlapping. A great example for this is a tree bark. Some tree barks are considered as a tessellation because it has a rectangular and polygon shapes that are repeated and fit together over the trunk without leaving an empty space.
Another example of a tessellation is a pineapple eyes form a repeating unit that tiles the curved surface uniformly. Like tiles on a floor, no spaces or overlaps happen due to the phylogenetic growth, where flowers stack tightly from sunlight and resources. This makes it a real-world example of irregular tessellation in nature, alongside with honeycombs.
And now, let's explore spots together. What are they and why do they matter? Spots are small, round marks or dots on an animal's wings, shell, or skin. They can be black, gold, or other colors. Spots help animals hide from birds, scare enemies, or find friends. They form from tiny scales or shiny parts that grow as the animal does. Meet the white peacock butterfly, or scientifically named Anarcha jatrophae. Its wings are mostly white with black spots, one big round, one on the front wings and two on the back. These spots make it look bold in sunlight or help it blend with leaves in shade. Now, the spotted tortoise beetle, or scientifically named as Aspidomorpha miliaris, a shiny beetle from places like the Philippines. Its round gold shell has many small black spots like golden coins with dots. These spots warns predators it's not tasty or help it look like a bird poop to stay safe.
Now we're looking at an example of a stripes pattern in nature. Stripes are a pattern of parallel lines like the stripes on this leaf and the butterfly wings. This plant is a Sanchisa speciosa, or also called as zebra plant. The stripes on the leaf help with photosynthesis and provide structural support, while also serving as camouflage. Similarly to the stripes of butterfly wings, serves as a camouflage and help with identification, breaking up the outline of the butterfly's shape and confusing predators. The parallel lines on both the leaf and the butterflies are example of a stripes pattern, showcasing nature's way of creating order and functionality. A wave is a repeated rising and falling movements that happens when an energy travels through water or air. Waves forms a series of high parts and low parts that keep repeating. So for example of a wave is the movement of water at the seashore. When the wind blows across the oceans, it pushes the water and creates a continuous up and down motion. So this is a wave pattern because the same movement repeats again and again as an energy moves forward.
To another. When the water flows, birds make sounds, or the wind blows, they create vibrations that our ears receive and interpret as sound. This movement of vibrations through the air is what we call sound waves.
A dune is a hill or ridge of sand formed by the wind. The wind carries the particles and drops them in the same direction, creating a similar curved shape on the ground. An example of a dune is the sand hills found in deserts and beaches. As the wind keeps on blowing, it piles the sand into repeated ridges. So this is a dune pattern because the shape forms over and over the same way.
Finally, what a new discoveries, right guys?
Yeah!
If
There is a repetition, there is a pattern!